still hard facts, 92.3 Nigeria info. Sam Chinedu here. Now we're talking about the Nigerian situation. That statement says a lot, but this time, as it connects to what we have gallantly done in a neighboring African country, well, the president praised the armed forces for swiftly helping Benin Republic stop an attempted coup that threatened its 35-year-old democracy. He approved the deployment of Nigeria Air Force fighter jets after Benin requested immediate help to secure its airspace and protect key institutions. The country also sent ground troops following a second request from Benin's authorities for surveillance support and rapid intervention. Once again, we responded, and that mission was accomplished. Chief Festus Oguche is right here in the studio with me, and well, he was speaking to the rules of engagement before the break. You're welcome once again, Chief.
Thank you very much.
All right, the government. Our armed forces acted within the ambit of the ECOWAS Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. They've helped stabilize the neighboring country and have made us proud of their commitment to sustaining our democratic values and ideals since 1999. Nigeria stands firmly with the government and people of the Republic of Benin, the president said. So these were the words of the president,
Yes.
verbatim, speaking about the country of the soldiers and the acting within the ambit of the ECOWAS Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. So if you're saying that it was unilateral, Chief Oguche.
Well, I know that the authority of heads of state and presidents of the ECOWAS Commission has developed a procedural format for interventions. ECOWAS itself has its own norms providing intervention to uphold democratic governance. That's the one he referred to, the Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. At the continental level, at the African regional level, we have the African Union Declaration on Democracy, Governance and Elections.
Okay.
So they are all there. But you see that, if you situate the argument within the larger framework of international law, sovereignty and regional governance, intervention is only possible in humanitarian situations.
Okay.
And even if they occur like that, it cannot be unilateral. There must be the meeting of the authority of heads of states, because this is not the first time we are intervening in West Africa, within the West African sub-region, ECOWAS sub-region, and there's never been a time that Nigeria engaged that war unilaterally. The rules of international law, particularly in the engagements that alter certain established traditional rules of customary international law, the doctrine of non-interference in the internal affairs of states, anything that will break the sovereignty of that state must be followed unilaterally. The swift action may be very okay in terms that it had worked and maybe the coup had been quelled. But if I have to find out what necessitated the coup in the first place, because probably Nigeria may have intervened in a situation where the people wanted the government to go away. Because we no longer have international institutions belonging to state entities or member states. The international institutions such as the African Union, the European Union, the ECOWAS community, they are all meant not for the states but for the protection of the citizens. And that was put a proper focus before the president can take any action. And the action that sought, if he had to take it that he was invited, the action, the crux of his invitation, the purpose of the invitation is not on human rights violations or humanitarian situations that call for immediate intervention.
Two things, Chief.
To quell a coup d'etat does not fall within the ambit of that kind of intervention that would be allowed. For instance, when Uganda, when Zambia invaded Uganda, something like that.
You can speak to the human rights of the president being violated.
As a person, individual.
Yeah, well, he's a human.
You look at it from the collectivity.
He's a human. But Chief, there are two ways to look at this, right? Your statement earlier, we have no idea what led to the coup, and maybe Nigeria was interrupting something. You know that the world has come to a position where they vilify anything that is on the opposite side of democracy, regardless of reason. Once anything fights democracy, that thing becomes the villain.
We had it here at River State for 6 months.
No, hold on,
That's a
Chief.
very good example.
Hold on, Chief.
Oh, sorry.
So, regardless of what caused the coup in the attempted coup, the world is going to blame those who were trying to remove a democratic government, regardless of what reason is presented, right? Because democracy is supposed to be the government of the people. Secondly, you have to consider the bureaucracy. If we decide, which I believe we should, to follow due process, follow the ECOWAS protocol, all of the time that it takes is going to work against the swift response of the country in getting this same result. So, how do you connect the need to respond immediately your call says that we take a lot of time and the democracy that needs to be saved in Benin Republic?
We started at the altar of political expediency. We've been intervening in several just like that in the West African subregion. You can from Sierra Leone, Liberia, Gambia. You know, in fact, one of the Gambia was one man who thinks himself to be God. He is a megalomaniac.
I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
He stayed put after he lost the election. We were even there in Cote d'Ivoire. So the procedure is well rooted in the rule of law, the rules of engagement. There's one professor, Una Hathaway. You can Google her name, Una, O-O-N-A, Hathaway. Okay. She's a professor of international law and human rights at Yale University, and she came up with a proposal that strong nations cannot just be allowed to be bullying smaller nations anyhow, and they shouldn't be given that room by virtue of certain conduct or things that warrant their intervention in some states. That a unilateral approach will give more vent to global peace and security than one that is a multilateral approach will give vent to global peace and security than one that is unilateral. President Tinubu claims that he got, they called him for intervention. Does he have the power to make that intervention? Did he consult the National Assembly? Such interventions have been going on severally in this country, and it takes some bit of tact, diplomacy, time. You know, you don't just push people into a troop into this a situation of this nature and ask them to go and quell coup d'etat and all that, things that are not within the ambit of human rights violations or humanitarian or require humanitarian interventions. Professor Linus Mauzi has stated that this creates doctrinal contradictions in the violation of collective self-defense, because that is exactly what it is. President Tinubu called the action on that doctrine of collective self-defense against the backdrop of the ECOWAS community. But the collectivity of that self-defense is rooted in the nature of the violation, in coup d'etats, not in upheavals, not in even internal insurrections. If not, you would have forgotten the whole world all over Nigeria for the abductions and all the kidnappings that we experienced in here. So there's no justification for that, really, because the ICJ has been preaching that doctrine since its formation, even before it was formed, that sovereignty is the primary consideration of statehood. It is well spelled out in the Montevideo Convention of 1933 that for you to invade the space of another state, you cannot do it alone. That was the main anchor upon which Tinubu hinged his opposition to Trump's proposal. I wouldn't call it a threat because it's a proposal to intervene and help us destroy these killers and murderers.
Chief, that was a threat. The tone of Trump in that social media post, I still remember the 1st of November, it sounded threatening. All right, I'm about to take calls, but recommendations, and I just thought about this while you were speaking. Do you think that to create a sustainable system, there has to be an amendment to help expedite the ECOWAS process so that it doesn't take too long to get the approvals and respond as quickly as we need to?
The amendment that is important here is the amendment of the involvement of the people. I told you that now you don't have ECOWAS. It has been a paradigm shift from the institutions, international institutional framework belonging to states, where member states are the signatories and they adhere to the protocol and submit to the jurisdiction of the regional courts. We now have these institutions that are there to represent the people. there must be a framework, sort of a mechanism for ascertaining the mindset or the feelings of the people of Benin Republic before you go to make such intervention. Because probably that intervention could be anti-populism.
True.
It could lack in legitimacy. And legitimacy is rooted in the people, not in the officials of government.
And now I'm more interested in what caused the attempted coup. I've been looking at the news and
Bad governance,
trying to get
corruption,
the
ineptitude, inertia, every things that traditionally do Africa and Africans. Distribution, high-handed systems that are totalitarian, systems that tend to will intervene in the Republic.
the purpose. I don't see ECOWAS taking action. Minds them up anyway.
Where my views. There's nothing unpatriotic in somebody going to unseat. We've got
The constitution of every country.
It's a democratic order.
Exactly. So, regardless of how this functions, I mean, you have Nigeria's always have thrown around. ECOWAS is not going to, in any way, shape, or form, suggest, recommend, intervene. It's not democratic, regardless of how dysfunctional it is.
Professor, it's a union. I agree.
Why would he even say that? Why would he say that?
Hillary Clinton, former First Lady of the United States, has looked at the whole Africa Union and all its ramifications and said this is just a club of leaders and elders. They are there for self-serving reasons. Democracy is yet to be entrenched in African societies, and that is why you see these type of coups, attempts of coups here and there.
All right.
And something has to be drastically done. The ECOWAS, as an institution of governance, must come together to call its members to order and allow that the involvement and participation of the citizens of the community is very, very important in the determination of every action they take. Very, very, very important. We are talking about sovereignty, regionalism, supranational interventionism and responsibility,
All right.
and we cannot say it is wrong, for instance, for Trump to help us, assist us in any way, but it is right for us to move into Benin Republic, and we hope that he will come back home to use the same punchy mechanism,
Same firepower.
Look at the sophistication of the airplanes, of the warplanes. Fantastic. Somebody showed it to me from there. And I know. Look at the operation of the Nigerian troops. So somebody has to explain to us why they operate in such excellent, sophisticated manner in Benin Republic and not do the same thing with dealing with riffraffs that are disturbing us in the forests here.
Makes you proud to be a Nigerian. Yeah. Let's take some calls. 08179230002. Hello, good afternoon. Sorry, good evening.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. Jude Obani.
All right, Jude.
Our president responded to the call of their government and sent in troops, both ground and air, that responded promptly to save them from the coup. Will it be proper or legal if America or any other international country do what we have done or does what we have done to Benin by sending in their troops? America sending troops to come and help us out. Are we not going to be quoting international law that says that we are a sovereign nation and no country can not come into our country without permission, without that? Like Festus asked, did the president consult the National Assembly? He didn't. He just did it on his own and responded promptly. So when our international bodies do that to us, are we not going to say them they're now infringing on our rights as a sovereign nation?
Okay. Well, those are pertinent questions you've asked. Hello, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Good evening. What's your name?
My name is Comrade Clinton. I'm calling from Bori.
Go ahead.
Your guests have just put my mind. The way Nigeria government went into the Benin Republic was shocking to some of us. How swift it was and how effective that onslaught was. And come to think of it, that the Boko Haram have been disturbing Nigerian security architecture for a decade now, more than a decade, and we've done very little in combating them. So I think that if we have this kind of personnel, this kind of expertise in terms of military performance, showed in the case of Benin Republic, I don't think that we should be having this kind of problem internally. Boko Haram are part of us, and they've been taking deep into our country. We should be proactive in combating their menace. And I think that I've been saying it too, that Boko Haram is a man-made terrorism. We made it so. We allowed it to linger, and if we want to stop it, we can stop it ourselves. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Clinton. I'll take one more call. Hello?
Yeah, hi, Sam. Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name?
Yeah, Mufasa on the line. Good evening, resource person. I think he has justice to the topic. Sam, Benin called and we acted swiftly.
Yeah.
You know, that is a sharp contrast to the way we react in our own problem. With Nigeria lending hand, you know, to their. What posed a greater threat to a democracy than bunch of criminals, renegades, rascals, holding territories within our own territory? Is that not a greater threat to our own democracy? That we have people having the audacity to collect taxes from Nigerians, all in the name of farmers are paid. So I don't know, is it that we are complacent in the insecurity that we have in this country, or the government is deliberately not wanting to do anything? Because if you see the way Nigerians acted in ensuring that the coup don't see the light of the day, it leaves so much to be desired in the minds of some of us who are patriotic Nigerians. That's my position, Sam. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's see. Can I take a call? Good afternoon, Oracle. It's funny for President Tinubu to praise the military for helping Benin Republic to fight when they have not been able to fight bandits and Boko Haram. This is a funny country. All right, so we are going to have an extension of this conversation in the next hour. We'll keep talking. There are many more things to unpack. And of course, I'll be looking to take more of your calls. It's a complete shame that the Nigerian military can only perform wonders outside Nigerian soil. Fidelis Elemoa from Eche says. And this message says, Nigeria is like lion for township, rat for village. I don't like that I understand that. Kudos to Nigeria for assisting Benin Republic. But it's evil for America to assist Nigeria. God will judge all of us that are trading with human lives. We're now using the life of our school children to make money, Jackson from Iba says. All right, after the break, the news happens at the top of the hour, and then we keep talking. Stay with us.